Happy Monday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome on back to the Die Hard MMA podcast, and it is time for Noche UFC. Welcome into the show, everybody, and I could not be more excited to talk through this fight card. I'm feeling especially good because I'm coming off of sweeping the board. We're up 50 units this past week. Man, it could not. No, if you guys haven't noticed, I pulled one on you. This is a pre-recorded show. I am not rocking the baby blues. I'm rocking the hardcore 19 Adam Thielen because my boy is back on the Vikings and we're playing tonight, season opener. And that means right this minute, I am on my father-in-law's couch with a drink in hand, watching the Vikings whoop the Bears' ass. So I don't know how I did this past week at UFC Paris. I've got a feeling I did okay, but I'm not going to pretend to have just stormed the castle here for you guys. I'm going to say I won, okay? Let's say we're positive units. Let's put that out there in the universe, right? So we are not going to leave you guys hanging. I was going to be stuck in two places at one time this week. How am I supposed to watch my beloved Vikings play their first game of the season and also be here to break down fights for you? Well, I found a fellow psychopath who was going to join me early enough to preview this awesome UFC Noche card for you guys, and we have some breakdowns for you. Not only did I find a fellow psychopath, but one of the best damn gamblers in the entire space, one of the sharpest SOBs you'll have ever seen. That's right, longtime friend of the show, none other than Narco Cop MMA. Narco, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Well, what's up, Clint? How are you doing? Thanks for having me. Yeah, we're definitely degenerates. We're doing this a little bit early here, but yeah, man, I'm always down to break down some fights. I think this UFC Noche card is an interesting card. So we'll see. I mean, there's some good matchups here, especially the main event. I mean, the main event should absolutely be a banger.
Couldn't agree more, man. They always go all out for UFC Noche. It's almost always a good night of fights. I'm sure they're hoping a few more of these Mexican fighters win this time around because they got smoked the last time. But that main event's an absolute banger. I can't wait to watch this fight card, man. It's going to be a good one. So I usually start the show with how'd you do last week, but we don't know how you did last week. But what a lot of people in the chat may not know, though, is you're a fellow Vikings fan, though.
Big time Viking fan, 40 plus years of heartache. I call it heartache, okay? Because I've had TVs broken. And this is true, I've literally broken a TV. Especially, you remember that Atlanta championship game. Like, if maybe you were too young, I don't know.
Nope, that was before my time, man.
All right, well, listen, when your kicker goes like something like 40 for 40 on the year, doesn't miss a single field goal, you get to the championship game, you're one of the best teams, you only have one loss all year, you have just an amazing offense. You go down, and it's like a 37-yard field goal. The guy hasn't missed all year. If he hits it, game's over, and he misses it. And we lose an OT in that game. Of course, I broke my TV.
Yeah. I don't blame you, man. I've heard the stories. That field goal kick is it's talked about in hushed whispers. I married into the fandom, so I missed, all of that pain. I've been here for the last, 15 or so years. Started watching Vikings when me and my now wife were dating. So started hanging out with her family for Viking Sundays and stuff like that. So I'm a recent transplant. So I missed out on all that stuff. Thank God. But it's been painful enough frankly, just the last little bit that I've been here. I'm hoping JJ McCarthy takes us to the promised land because we got a good team, but we'll see. We'll see. The people didn't tune in today to hear us wax poetic and cry in our beer over the Vikings losing and stuff like that, man. We got some fights to talk about here. So guys, do me a favor, please hit that like button, get subscribed if you haven't. If you're living under a rock and you don't know who Narco is, please give Narco a follow. Check out his links in the description below. Not many people are capable or willing of coming in like a full week in advance to do a show like this for you. So show my guy some love for sure. And also show some love to Cloudbet, you guys. Cloudbet sponsors the podcast, as you know, so please make sure you are checking them out. Click the link in the description below. Use promo code DieHardMMA. There is a $2,500 rollout welcome bonus for people signing up on Cloudbet for the Diehards, just for you and me. Show them some love. Get signed up. That's probably the best way that you guys can support me if you're interested in doing that. So check it out. Let's get into this card, man. First fight of the night. We're going to throw the people for a little bit of a loop here on this one, man. So there's been a little shuffle going on here at Noche UFC. And we now have Santiago Luna taking on Quang Bang Lee to open up the card. And this fight wasn't listed this morning, man. It was not listed this morning when I looked at this card. It was not listed when I did my early research. So I'm going to apologize to you guys because I just don't have a lot to say on this one. I did not study this one. Quang Lee is 33 years old, 2-1 so far in the UFC. That one win coming over Gaston Bolanos in his last fight. Santiago Luna, 6-0, just 21 years old, fighting out of Intram Gym. And the very first thing that both Narco and I noticed is that this kid's in shape. And that's all I got for you guys. I mean, we know Quang a little bit, right? Because we've seen a couple of his fights, and we know what these Intram fighters look like. And the UFC seems to like these dudes. This kid is young, undefeated. You got to think he's probably the A side at this point, but I don't have a technical breakdown for you. Narco, do you have any thoughts on this first fight of the night with the quick swap here?
Yeah, I mean, this was a shuffle fight, so I don't really have much on this guy. I usually know a lot of these regional guys. Obviously, this fight got made so late, I didn't even get to see tape or do anything with this guy. I kind of had a look at his Instagram. You know, he's at the Intram Gym. He's looks like phenomenal shape. I mean, muscles on muscles. 21 years old, super young. But not a blemish in his amateur or pro career. So, you know, it is what it is. He's 9-0. You know, has he faced the best opposition? Probably not. I skimmed through some of these guys. I don't think they're very good. UWC, a promotion in Mexico, is not very good as well. But, you know, recently he fought on Tough Enough, but he fought a very low-level guy, you know, and he dispatched of him in round one. I think the toughest fight that he's had is probably this Magomed Budayev guy that's 6-2 currently. But again, you know, there's not much to be said about this guy because he hasn't fought anybody as well. So, yeah, I mean, Quang Lee, we know what he's made of, right? He can grapple some, he can strike, he has power, and you know, he's been in the UFC now, so he's got the experience advantage, he's got the UFC edge. You know, he is 33, so he's kind of on the wrong side of 30. But you know, he looked good against Bolanos. You know, he did what he had to do. He subbed Bolanos there, and you know, the other two matchups, he was very competitive in both, to be honest. Lang Zhao, very competitive. And Chris Gutierrez on short notice, very competitive. So, you know, when you look at this matchup, like I said, I don't know much about this guy, Luna, but 21 years old, making your UFC debut against an actual good fighter. You know, we're not talking about bottom of the barrel fighter in Quang Lee. It's going to be interesting. You know, obviously right now I lean the guy that's more experienced. You know, it's just, you know, more experience, been to UFC, been training for a fight here, as opposed to this Luna guy getting this fight on, you know, a week and a half notice.
Yeah, man, I feel you. And one of the things I talk about a lot in these types of situations is man muscles. right? You get these kids that come up and they're 21 years old, they're 20 years old, they're in phenomenal shape. They've got abs for days, right? But there's just something different when you turn 26, 27, 28 and that muscle density starts to, tighten up a little bit. So as much as this kid might be a prospect, he's undefeated, he hasn't really been tested. Like this is where the rubber meets the road. A tough old SOB like Quang Lee might be able to give him that first veteran lesson because he's not quite ready yet. I'll be curious to see, man. This will be a fun fight to start the night out, and I promise you guys I'll probably look into this fight before the Friday show, so I'll have a little bit more to say by the time we come back around and chat about this one.
I have one more thing that I have to say, that now that I looked a little bit more, apparently under 20 championship in Mexico, he competed in wrestling. So it looks like he has a wrestling background. Yeah, and I could see it in his Instagram. You could tell he got a medal here for another wrestling 2-time national champ, it says. So
okay.
It looks like he's a wrestler. Mikey.
A little bit of wrestling never hurt anybody. That's good stuff, man. Good note. Thank you very much for that, Narco. Anyway, guys, we'll move on to the next fight, so we got a little bit more to talk about here. A couple of UFC debutantes, which is a rarity these days. Rodrigo Cinzado taking on Daniil Donchenko. Those are difficult names to say. I hope I did all right. Narco, I was looking at both these guys, and like I said, it's like a double debutante type of situation. Rodrigo is a Nova União BJJ brown belt. He's got 6 round 1 finishes. Tapology has no idea how old he is, so I don't know if you can help me with that. But his opponent, Daniil, 24 years old. This guy has a real weak level of competition. Lots of movement, lots of footwork. He kind of bounces around, lots of feints. He doesn't do much attacking. It seems like he's more interested in confusing you and trying to set something up than he is actually putting his offense together. So he ends up being a little bit low volume. He does like to get underhooks. He likes to pin you up against the fence and try to drag you to the floor. But man, like one of the fights I saw where he got his opponent in like a Travis Brown elbow situation. And he just elbowed him straight to the back of the neck, man. I mean, totally illegal blow. And they let it go, and he gets the TKO victory in that spot. So highly questionable is Daniil, in my opinion. Rodrigo, though, on the other side of this thing, this guy looks like a well-rounded, complete athlete, in my opinion, man. He's a fiend on the ground. Like, this guy sells out for the takedown. He'll ride the body lock if he has to. He'll blast W and sprint across the cage to drive through that thing. He is vicious when he gets down there. He looks like he's really physically strong, and it's kind of up to you, ground and pound or submission, whatever you offer him. And he does that high-level BJJ thing where it's like inch by inch, just slowly improving his position. He jumped on this one dude's back, and next thing you know, it's the body triangle standing. Next thing you know, he's opened up a spot to fit his arm in there. And then next thing you know, they're on the ground again, and he's choking him out for the sub. I like this Rodrigo kid, man. I'm not going to lie. I think this is night and day difference where, like, based on their records, it looks like it's a relatively even matchup. But I think Rodrigo should be a decent-sized favorite here, man. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you're big on Rodrigo, and I think he's good, actually. I do think he's really good. I think both guys are deserving of this spot here in the finale here of Tough. This fight was booked for a couple of weeks ago, and they I don't know what happened. Was it Rodrigo? Something happened with Rodrigo's visa, or something happened where this fight fell out. Or he was injured, I believe. Something happened with Rodrigo.
Let me see.
They pushed this fight back. I'm pretty sure they were.
It's just canceled on Tapology.
Yeah, but something happened on the Rodrigo side. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Anyways, Donchenko, one thing about this guy, man, he's an absolute animal, man. He's a savage in the cage. He is trying to decapitate his opponents, man. And one thing I've noticed with him is his striking is really, really good, man. Really, really good striking. Lots of power, switching of stances. He's very good friends with UFC fighter. God, I can't remember who it was, but he's a very, very good friend of his. I'm trying to look for it now if I can find it, but I can't find it. Anyways, he's been training in Vegas over there along with the syndicate team. So he's putting in good work. You know, he's got good training partners there. Like you mentioned, Rodrigo's very good grappling. The problem I see here is it's very hard to take this Daniil guy down. I watched some of that tough stuff, and man, is he hard to get down. And if you're standing with this guy, he is a mother effer, Clint. And you look at his record, man, it's got a lot of finishes, man. Lots of finishes. And a lot of them are by knockout, you know, ground and pound. You know, he hurts guys on the feet, follows them up. I kind of favor him over Rodrigo, honestly, just because of how aggressive. And I think he has a good takedown defense from what I've seen. You know, maybe Rodrigo comes out here and takes him to the ground and makes it look easy. You know, I'm not saying I think Rodrigo has faced the better level of opposition, even though it's been in Canada, a lot of it. You know, most of the guys this guy's been beating are like that Naza or whatever I believe it's in Kazakhstan. So I just seen a lot of improvements from this guy. And, you know, he was at a long time. He was at Tiger Muay Thai. I remember that. That's where he got out a lot of his good striking, man. He's a really, really disgusting Muay Thai guy and very, very dangerous. Elbows, knees. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like he's the type of guy that's going to gas out, but somehow he keeps going. And he's very, very strong and durable. So it's going to be a very interesting match. I lean Daniil here, honestly. I don't think there's a line on this, but that's the side I lean right now.
Okay, so we're leaning on opposite sides here, and yeah, I checked, man. I'm not seeing a line out for this fight yet, which makes sense. If it's an Ultimate Fighter fight, usually they keep those a little pretty close to the vest before their fights. And man, the one thing I want to caution just everybody, and why I'm probably not going to get too invested on this one is, Narco, it seems like the Ultimate Fighter, somebody always surprises. Like every single season, there's someone you watch on the house and their first fight in the UFC, they're a totally different person. It's like, how in the last 6 have you just erased everything I've seen on tape for your entire career? Somebody pulls a complete 180 after leaving that tough house. So I'm going to tread carefully here on this one. We'll see what the number comes in at. If it's a big number and I got to take the shot, then so be it. But if it's not some huge unrelenting number that I can't resist, then I'm probably just going to end up passing on this one. And I'm disappearing because I'm about to lose my laptop.
You were cutting out there for a little bit.
Oh man, I had to disappear for a second because my screen suddenly went dark. Yeah, it went into like power saver mode, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like my laptop apparently unplugged itself while we were over here. I must have rolled over it with my chair or something. Oh man! All right, so it is what it is. We'll see what happens on that one, and I want to see what that line drops looking like when it comes out. Next fight on the board here, Narco. We've got Alessandro Costa taking on Aiden Coria. And man, why don't you go ahead and tee this one up and lead us off on this one?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Aiden Coria quite a bit. He's fought on Fury a bunch. I know a lot of those Fury guys. I believe he's fought on LFA as well. Yep, he's fought on LFA a bunch of times as well. So he's fought on both promotions that I know a lot of their fighters. And you know, when I go back and watch this guy, one thing comes out, and I think he's kind of underwhelming, man. He's underwhelming to me. He doesn't have the best chin, in my opinion. You know, you go back and look at his fights, and you see a no contest overturned. That was a fight he got knocked out in against Paris Moran. I don't really remember, or it's saying Coria win. I don't know. I remember him getting knocked out in that fight. But anyways, he's just the type of guy that one, his gas tank is not very good, which I don't like. Two, I think he can get taken down, which Costa could do to him. And three, when you look at his wins a little deeper, he's beaten nobody, really. You know, everybody's he's beat. Not very good guys. Every time he kind of has stepped up, he loses. I remember that Sear fight where he got finished in round 3. That guy, Michael Sear, I mean, he's a good grappler. Don't get me wrong, but he's nothing special. And he finished Aiden in round 3. And if I'm not mistaken, Aiden was a huge favorite in that fight. Because Aiden was at one point a very big prospect. So, yeah, I mean, I like Costa here. I mean, I like Costa quite a bit. UFC experience, has power in his hands. He's very, very durable as well. I know he's been knocked out, but the guy is super durable. And, you know, being competitive with Ursig, fighting a guy like Albazi. Albazi was 1-1 going into round 3. You know, a close fight. And that was his UFC debut. And then he came back and just absolutely decimated Kevin Borjas. So he has been out for over a year here. But I feel like they're putting Costa here in this spot against a guy like this. You know, Costa's in Mexico. He trains with the main event, a guy that's going to come up here in the main event. And they're very, very good friends at this point, him and Diego Lopes. So, I just feel like this is a Costa spot, man. Like, kid is he's pretty damn good everywhere. He's got power in his hands. He's still only 29. You know, he's not old. So, yeah, I like him here. I think Alden coming into the UFC debut against a guy like this, I think it's too much for him.
Okay. Yeah, man. It's crazy. This little Alessandro Costa kid is apparently Team Noche, but I'm with you. I think this is a pretty softball matchup for him. He's just a little monster, dude. I love the power hooks that he likes to swing. He can keep that high guard up. He's heavy on his feet and just walks his opponents down. The biggest thing I saw from Coria, and you know him far better than I do, which is always nice when these guys make these debuts here. If you guys don't know, Narco's like king of the regionals. So it's good to have that knowledge here. But man, I didn't see that he's got any type of power. And with Alessandro Costa, like, how are you going to get the respect? Like, how are you going to get this guy off of you if you can't hurt him and back him up? I just don't see where Aiden's going to have that ability to do that. And if Costa isn't worried about what's coming back at him, he's just going to let loose, man. And if he does that, he's finishing most people. So I expect Costa probably to be a decent sized favorite. And I'm looking, do you see a line on this one? Because I'm actually not seeing a line on this fight yet either.
I believe I saw one. Yes. Alessandro Costa minus 350. The comeback is plus 285 on Correa. Actually, correction. He did actually knock out Paris Moran, but I don't understand what happened, why it was overturned to a no contest. Because it looked like he dropped him and got his back and pounded him out. So I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure. Maybe it's some kind of steroid use or something. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to look into that one, man. Not sure. All right. Let's keep it rolling, man. All right. I got to make sure I don't disappoint here on this one, Narco. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally time. Narco, the fight that they took away from me. You know, the biggest pet peeve I have when it comes to gambling, right, is when a fight is booked and everybody gets in on the side that they like and the fight falls out. And the bookies reopen the rematch and they've moved the line, right? The bookies reopen the rematch and they're like, we know what side everyone's on. We're going to cut you guys down about 40 cents on the dollar. And all the value boys are upset and pissed because they beat the market move and they wipe it away. The bookies are not going to give you that opportunity ever again. Well, this fight was supposed to happen, Narco, and I was upset. I was extremely upset because I was ready to absolutely smash on this fight, and then it fell apart. So I never got my opportunity. And frankly, I didn't think either of these guys were going to be in the UFC long enough for them to rebook it. But the MMA gods have blessed me, Narco, and I get my opportunity because Zach Reese is taking on Sedriques Dumas, ladies and gentlemen, at Noche UFC, no less. Why they're on this card, I have no idea, but I am forever grateful. Zach Reese is 9-2, Narco, and he is terrible. Okay, like people try to talk me into this guy being half decent. I ain't buying. He is god awful. He's a bully on the feet. Yes, he's extremely big for the weight class. Yes, he hits hard, but he does not like getting hit back. This guy is a glass cannon. If he can walk you down and never worry about what's coming back at him, he looks fantastic. If you get him in there with a punching bag, he looks like he's pretty good. And that's exactly what happened when he fought Jose Medina. So people think he's okay. He's not. And then he always tries to grapple, Narco. This guy's best move is his armbar off of his back. And I said before he got to the UFC, when I broke down the first card he was on, I said, that shit don't work at the UFC level. Maybe for the women, right? Maybe for Shauna Bannon. Nobody else gets the armbar from guard at the UFC level. You got to have a more sophisticated submission game than that to survive and in the men's weight classes. So he's chinny. He's a bad nail, and I hate his overall game. I think he's a complete fraud, Narco, and here he is sitting as a favorite over Sedriques Dumas. Now, I know Dumas is no prize, Narco. I am not championing Dumas. What I have said in the past is that I think he's got some, to quote my boy Liam Picks Fights, anthropomorphic advantages. He's tall, he's long, he's athletic, he's quick. I think he's got the type of frame that you can turn into something, right? I think he's got the type of God-given gifts that will allow him to be good at the sport of MMA if he can just harness it. Now, the problem is he's a freaking moron. So he's in and out of jail all the time. He's got a beeper wrapped around his ankle so he can't get to the gym all the time, and that's a problem. But when he's in there working, it looks like he's figuring it out, man. Like he's a half decent kickboxer. He's got a decent chin on him. I know people are going to point to the fight where he got knocked out by Nursultan Zaboev, but if you guys recall, that was an eye poke. He got finger blasted, and the referee didn't give him 2 seconds to wipe his eye out, so he gets TKO'd in that situation. Yes, he got completely schooled by Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Zero excuses for that. But again, that's a speed difference thing. You know what I mean? Once Mikhail sniffs blood, he's like a dog on a bone. That's not how Zachary Reese fights. This guy can't go balls to the wall trying to get a finish like that, because if you touch him on the chin, he'll keel over. So he's not going to be able to repeat that kind of offense. And Dumas, you look at his Instagram, when he's not smoking a joint and rapping at the camera, he's in the gym. He's got a gi on. He's got his white belt out. Like, this man is learning how to grapple, and we've already seen in a couple of his fights that he's willing to wrestle and get people down on the mat. He beat Cody Brundage and Abu Azaitar by taking them down, Narco. Like, of the two of them, Dumas surprisingly has the more complete MMA game. Of the two of them, I think Dumas is the better athlete. Of the two of them, Dumas has better durability. Narco, what are we doing? This is the Link Memorial Dog of the Week, and y'all should have known it was coming. Plus 230. Sedriques Dumas. I'm taking it. I don't care what anybody says. What do you make of this fight, Narco?
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is, I don't fade shit with shit. So this is where we're at here. Like, I think both fighters are not good. Dumas, I don't know what to make of that Mikhail fight. I feel like he just quit, to be honest. He got hit and he didn't like, if you watched that fight in general, like every time he was getting hit, he was turning and he was very scared, like literally scared. And listen, Mikhail hits very hard. Don't get me wrong. But he's shown that he has some quit in him. I'm going to be honest with you. Josh Frem fight, I feel like he just gave up that guillotine. He's like, okay, just I'm done, Do
you believe the thing he said about being high for that fight?
It could be true. The guy is not the smartest guy in the world, so he
could
definitely be high.
But I buy the fact that he walked into the octagon high for that fight.
Was he high against Mikhail when he got hit and he
just took his bag home.
And he just took his bag and he's like, I'm done. Zaboev fight, I don't blame him too much because I do think there was a foul there. And then after the foul, he ate a big uppercut, which is not fair. The fight should have been stopped and he had to have been given time because there was definitely a foul there. But man, I watched Tululian fight. I watched Azaitar, and these guys, when I say, Tululian and Azaitar honestly are worse than Zachary Reese. They're both are, in my opinion. And those are 50-50 fights, literally 50-50 fights. Now, we could say that you're getting plus 235 and it's a 50-50 fight. You have a great line, right? Plus 235. You're definitely on the right side. Now, Zachary Reese, I mean, the Brundage slam was, I don't even know what to call that. I mean, he got slammed on his head. I do think Bakoyev is pretty good, Azamat Bakoyev, and he just ended up grounding him, pounding him, and just literally knocking him out. He did come back. I thought he was going to lose to Todorovic, to be honest. I really did. Because I thought Todorovic can take him down, which he did. I think he took him down multiple times in that fight. But somehow he showed the ability to get back up in that fight against Todorovic, and he landed his own takedowns against Todorovic in that fight. So he did show some heart in that fight, man. That's the only fight I watched for this fight here, and he showed a lot of heart in that fight in the sense that I thought by round 3 this guy was going to be toast, done. He actually showed better cardio than Todorovic in round 3. He was the one coming on in round 3, throwing big punches. So, man, I don't know what to make of Dumas, dude. I really don't. I do think Dumas is the better overall mixed martial artist, I guess, by a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say that because I think Reese is the better BJJ guy for sure. He's more dangerous with the submissions. But like you said, Dumas, athletic, a little bit better technically striking as well, in my opinion. But you got to remember here, Dumas, normally is the bigger guy. He's not the bigger guy here. Zachary Reese is 6'4". Dumas is, I believe, 6'3". So it's going to be an interesting fight. There's no way I would lay minus 280 with Zachary Reese. If anything, it's dog or pass. It's in my book right here written. Do not fade shit with shit. So it's a big pass for me. But if you ask me who I think is going to win, I'm going to slightly favor Reese just because I think maybe he has a little bit better fight IQ. The fight IQ on Dumas is pretty bad. In and out of jail, there's so much. That's the other thing. So much shit going on in the background for him. We don't know what's going on with his case. Maybe the guy is facing jail time. We don't even know that. That could be in the back of your mind. It's hard to fight with stuff like that going into a fight, So there's some things, but yeah, I don't want nothing to do with this fight. Really. I'm staying as far away as I can from this fight.
That's fair enough, man. And I've told myself that don't bet shit against shit many times. And then it's just in me, man. I'm too degenerate for my own good. I see a spot like this, and like you said, it's a 50-50 fight, or I would go so far as to say Dumas minus 125. You know what I mean? Like, he squeezed little favorite on him, and I see plus 230, and I just can't help myself. It's like, I know there's a chance this blows up in my face. I cannot help myself. And on this one specifically, I mean, it's like my Jamal Hill fiasco from a couple years ago, where I sold so hard on this thing. I've talked so much shit at this point. How do I not back it up at this point? I got to go down with the ship on this one. So generally trying to fade shit with shit less over my betting career. But on this one, we got to go. So pray for me. All right, guys. Next fight up, we have got Tatiana Suarez, and she is taking on Amanda Lemos. Some seriously high caliber WMMA action here on this one, Narco. Why don't you lead us off on this one, man? What do you make of this fight?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with this fight is I bet Lemos against Lucindo last fight as a slight, I believe she was a slight underdog. And she went out there and out grappled Lucindo. Lucindo wanted nothing to do with the standing. And it's understandable, right? Because Lemos hits very, very hard. And the issue I have with Lemos, and this is a bad issue, is once she gets grounded, she's not very good, man. She's not very good upper back. I know she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but there's levels to it. And Tatiana Suarez is much, much better on the ground. And the biggest issue I have for Lemos here is, like, you look at the Jandiroba fight, it's not a great look. Jandiroba, I don't think, is a better overall grappler than Suarez is, because Suarez has, great wrestling. So it's like, I look at this fight and I'm like, well, how the hell is she going to win this fight? Like, she going to just bonk her on the feet? Maybe.
That guillotine she likes?
I don't know if she's going to get Suarez, man. She's
I don't
so
think
good
so
on
either.
the ground. That's the issue. Like, it's and the other thing is, like, yeah, did Weili Zhang absolutely cook Suarez basically the entire fight? Sure. But Weili Zhang is a much, much better fighter than Lemos at this point in their careers, So, man, I just have a hard time not seeing Suarez getting takedowns top time. Maybe she doesn't finish. Maybe she doesn't find the submission. But I it's hard for me not to see top time and, just winning minutes in this fight just via grappling, wrestling.
Yeah.
And she does it really well. And Lemos, if you look at her historically, after she gets grounded, she gets held down there a lot, man. And that's not good in this fight. So I know she's a huge favorite. Minus, what are we looking at? Wow.
She's like $4 at this point, man.
Minus 410. Yeah. I'm not touching that, but I just don't see much of a path for Amanda Lemos, honestly. I really don't. Maybe knockout on the feet, but it's so hard. I mean, we saw Weili Zhang, like, Suarez is tough as hell. Like, she is tough as they come. So I don't think it's happening, man. I think this is, if I have to choose a path for Suarez and how I think she wins, I kind of think it's going to be decision, to be honest, because Lemos has shown me she is extremely tough. Again, the same opponent, Weili Zhang. Go watch that fight. She's on the ground. She's getting beat up. She's constantly getting out of position. She's competent when it comes to submission game. Like, you're not going to be able to sub her very easy. Like, that sub against Andrade on the feet is a complete fluke. Like,
she didn't know what she was doing back then.
Yeah, I don't even rate that sub, to be honest. It's just like a standing arm triangle. It's like the weirdest meme sub
that should
ever.
Never happen.
Yeah, it's just so weird. And then you see, when she's on the ground against like Mackenzie Dern and Weili Zhang and minutes on end, and they can't sub her. Like, she's getting out of all these different spots. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, I mean, Suarez is the side for me. I think she wins pretty comfortably. I might, if it's given to me at a minus 150, a sub/decision, I'd probably play it.
Okay. Yeah, man. I don't have much more to add to that. I mean, you kind of covered all the bases on that one. And the one thing I will say is we are also gonna have to look out for that off the title shot loss situation. That's like an angle in MMA. You lose a title fight, you don't perform as well in your second fight or your next fight because, I don't know, maybe the air's out of the tires a little bit. You kind of feel like you missed your opportunity, so you're not all the way locked in. Man, I feel like we're gonna get Tatiana Suarez coming back, fighting for the honor of her and Mr. Patchy Mix. You know what I mean? The two of them coming off a lock. Coming off a loss, both of them being married in the gym together. Like, I feel like they're going to be locked in for their next fights. And then the one thing I will say is I actually kind of feel like the sub has a little bit of a chance here in this spot, mostly because of how brutally strong Tatiana Suarez is. I know Verna's extremely powerful and strong too, but Mackenzie, she's more slick. You know what I mean? She's not going to overpower you in those positions and stuff like that. The way Tati is going to get on top of her and, chest to chest and really drive down with the pressure. And I could see like an arm triangle. If she gets in dominant position and catches Amanda with her arm up in the air a little too quick or something, I feel like she would be the one that's got the power and the squeeze to finish a position like that where somebody else might not be able to get that opportunity. But same idea, though. You know what I mean? It's either a sub or it's a decision for Tatiana Suarez. And I can't argue with the line. Minus 400, it is what it is. I love me some Amanda Lemos. I love how she bites down on the mouthpiece and swings for all she's worth. And I love that she gets a little silly sometimes and she jumps that guillotine, but I think that's going to put her in a bad position against this opponent. So she better watch out. She better have worked on that takedown defense. Moving right along, everybody. That next fight, Jose Medina taking on Dusko Todorovic. A couple of recent victims here of Zach Reese getting together on this fight card, which is intriguing to me here. Man, I got to tell you, I think so poorly of Zach Reese, if I can just wind the clock back to him. I bet both of these guys against Zach Reese. I literally put my hard-earned money on Jose Medina and Dusko Todorovic to beat Zach Reese in their last couple of fights. So I'm very familiar with both of these guys. I thought Dusko needed to do just a little bit more in that third round to win that fight. And frankly, man, Jose Medina, we talked about him being a walking punching bag. His entire fighting persona is dude is tough. Like that's all he's got. He's completely made out of, like, I don't know. I was gonna say steel, but it's not quite that hard. I mean, I know he got knocked out in his last fight, but that was Atiba. Like, let's give the guy a pass for getting knocked out by Atiba Gautier a little bit, won't we? Nobody else is knocking this guy out. He smiles and keeps plodding forward. And I just thought, you know what? If he can take a couple shots from Zach Reese in round one, he'll start throwing, he'll overwhelm him in round two, and then he'll land something in round three. That was the game plan, right? But he just didn't throw. Like, I would love for Jose Medina to get a low ball and to go out there and get a big old win on Noche UFC. And I want to cheer for the guy to do that, but I can't count on him to throw anything, man. And Dusko on the flip side of this thing, he's as game as they come, but boy, has he looked rough his last couple of fights. And even in the Zach Reese fight, it just seemed like he's already kind of a poor-ish fighter, and now he's declining. Like, I'm seeing him taking step backwards where he doesn't quite want to get hit anymore, and he's losing some positions, and he's making not that he always made, good IQ decisions in the middle of the fight anyway, but he's making worse decisions in these fights now. Like, I think we're on the tail end of Dusko. So just going off of sheer want it more, I'm going to say Jose Medina might actually be able to pull this off. But you talked about fading shit with shit. This is a fight you need to steer clear from when it comes to gambling. It's probably not smart to get invested in this one. Technically, it's Dusko. You rewind the clock 2-3 years, Dusko probably finishes this guy. But, like, I can't trust this version of Dusko.
Yeah, Dusko's awful, man. I really, even in that last fight, like, it was kind of close against Zach Reese, but he did absolutely nothing on the feet, man. Like, this guy's scared to throw punches now. He just wants to go for takedowns. Even his top, he used to be actually a pretty good grappler. I don't even think he's very good anymore on top. He had good ground and pound before. Like, he didn't do shit in that Zachary Reese fight outside of just, like, holding him down.
I was screaming at my TV.
And quite honestly, look at his wins, man. Like, I mean, his last 3 UFC wins, guys, hold on to your hats. It's Jordan Wright, it's Mackie Patolo, and it's Daquan Townsend.
Oh,
it is a murderous row of killers that he's beating. Like, what are we doing here? I know he's lost to good guys, but he's losing in a bad way almost all the time. Yes, Zach Reese fight was semi-competitive, but which one of the other fights was competitive? None of them, and yes, Jose Medina is very bad. Like, I agree with you. I think he's a punching bag. But he tries, man. I do think he's going to try more than what I've seen from the recent Dusko, honestly. I think he wants to fight more in general. Like, yeah, he got knocked out with a knee against Atiba, but Atiba was landing some bombs with his hands, and he was like, come on, buddy, throw some more. And if Atiba's landing shots like that and you're telling him, come on, you are one tough SOB. You don't want to get hit by Atiba. So, Zachary Reese, there is a clear path for Dusko, probably via grappling. But I like the fact that the last, like, 3 or 4 months, I think he's been at Killcliff, Medina. So, this is a guy that came from having no coaches, I heard. This was his story. He had 0 coaches coming there from Bolivia, where you don't even hear any fighters come from Bolivia. Like, I've not, have you heard of a single fighter from Bolivia? I think this guy's the only guy. So he had, like, no coaches, not a gym. He basically is we could say, professionally training in a good gym for like a year and a half or 2, right? So maybe we see some improvements from him, at 34. Yes, I know he's on the older side, but in MMA, like, training and years, I think this guy is on the younger side. Like, he's been training and fighting in, like, no man's land. So, Yeah, man. I kind of lean his side. I just think he wants to fight more in general. I think Dusko's done, to be honest. I really do. That performance was so poor against Zach Reese. How he gets gassed before Zach Reese is beyond me because Zach
No
Reese has
idea.
terrible cardio. I don't know. He just looked bad. And I rather go with the guy that just wants to fight more. And who I see wants to fight more is Jose Medina.
I'm tempted, Narco. I really am because he's plus 250. Like I thought it was going to be closer lined just because of how bad
Dusko
Dusko is.
Todorovic is minus 300 in 2025.
Correct.
What are we doing?
I have no clue. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have told you that because by the time I get a chance to bet it, it's going to be plus 150. So, no, man, I think it's dog or pass in a big way. And frankly, the more we talk about it, like I really feel like we can just RIP Dusko here. We can give him his obituary and say Jose Medina is going to win this fight based off wanting it more. I think that's a very live possibility here in this fight. All right, everybody, buckle up. We got a good one here for you. The return of Claudio Puelles, and he's taking on Neto BJJ, Joaquim Silva himself. Narco, take it away, man. Talk to me about these two guys.
Dude, so today I'm like, okay, I need to do some of this tape on, this fight. And I'm looking at the Instagram for Claudio Puelles. And I'm like, is this Claudio Puelles? No, it's not him. And I'm looking closer. And it's him. And this guy's put on like an absurd amount of muscle, dude. Like, what happened? What kind of vitamins is this dude on? Like, he does not even look like Claudio Puelles anymore.
But he went to train with Husamir Palhares.
I have no idea who this guy is training with or what kind of greens he's eating. But he's put on a lot of muscle on that body. And he does not look like the same fighter whatsoever. But he's been out for so long, what is it? 2 year and a half now? Yeah.
2 years.
And a half.
It's a year and a half at this point. Yeah.
Year and a half at this point. And his last loss, forgivable, to be honest, against Ziam as a split, not a terrible loss. Dan Hooker, again, it's a forgivable loss, to be honest. Like, Dan Hooker is a very, very good fighter. I think he would probably do the same to Joaquim Silva.
He was out of his depth on that one, man. Too much too soon.
And then you look at Joaquim Silva, and he's 36 years old. Hasn't beaten anybody really of note since Jared Gordon years back. When it was probably Jared Gordon on his drug run, because I do think at that time he was on either alcohol or drugs or whatever he was doing. That was 7 years ago. But the recent version of Silva, yeah, I know he hurt Close pretty damn bad. I know he hurt Sarukian pretty damn bad. So the one thing we could say with Joaquim Silva is the guy has very big power in his hands. You don't want to get hit by him, and he swings for the fences. The problem is his cardio is a little suspect. He is 36 years old. He doesn't fight very often as well. His last fight was in May of 2024. So it wasn't like, he's been fighting. And quite frankly, I just feel like this is a fight where Claudio probably is going to be able to get his grappling going. Now, if he's not able to get his grappling going, I really don't like what Claudio looks like on the feet. He's not a very good striker. He looks kind of uncomfortable there. Now, listen, a year and a half, 2 years off almost. He's drinking his green juice. He is eating all the right fruits. He might come back like a different fighter. I don't know. But, current price is about minus 140 Joaquim Silva, plus 120. I honestly lean on the Puelles side here because somehow, some way, he always turns his fights into on the ground, even with Ziam. Like, there was a lot of rolling around on the fucking ground there, and he's extremely dangerous down there. I know Silva's a black belt, but if he rolls around enough with Silva's going to probably death gas. Like, the guy's going to get really tired. He's not used to rolling like that. He likes to stand a lot. So I lean the dog here, honestly. The younger guy by a wide margin. I think he's still in his 20s, Claudio Puelles, isn't he? Yeah, 29.
Yep.
So I kind of lean on the younger guy here, the guy that's, probably putting some more work into improvements as opposed to Joaquim Silva being a finished product. You're not going to get any improvement from Joaquim Silva, right? So if we see some improvements in the striking from Puelles, if he fights a little bit longer, he's a longer guy. Who knows? He could look like a big favorite in this fight, but there's a lot of questions on both sides, to be honest. But I rather go with the young guy here, and the guy that's a little bit more dangerous on the ground in Claudio Puelles at 29 years old.
Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. Claudio Puelles is one of these fighters who I was really high on when he first got to the UFC, man. And frankly, I thought Dan Hooker was done. So I bet Claudio Puelles the night he got his ass whooped by Dan Hooker. So that was a bit of a bad look. But I bought into this kid, and I hit his sub prop against Clay Guida. I know almost everybody did back in 2022. We all know Clay's weakness is that submission game. But man, I really thought this kid was so smooth on the ground. And we talked about the man muscles thing earlier on this show already. He's 29 years old. He's working out with, like I said, Usumer Palhares. It looks like the way he's piling muscle on that frame. I think there's a very real chance he does come back a different fighter. And frankly, he is the Prince of Peru, Narco. That's his fight name. He's the one and only UFC fighter from Peru. This guy lost 2 fights, embarrassingly, and said, I'm about to become Anshul Jubli. There's no way I'm letting my country down. And he went back and hit the gym. So I expect Claudio Puelles 2.0 coming back into this fight. Joaquim Silva, God love him. The guy's an absolute beast. He hurts everybody he fights, man. Like, I always think it's so funny that he's such a big power striker when his name is literally Neto BJJ. Like, he's got jujitsu in his fight name, but he wants to go out there and slug it out with everybody he fights instead. He was probably the closest person ever to finishing Arman Tsarukyan. He had him hurt so badly, but it's like, that's it. If you survive that one big power shot, he don't got it for the rest of the fight. You give this guy one opportunity. That's his moment. That's when he can win that fight. So I just think I'm with you here, man. Slight dog bet on Claudio Puelles. I mean, I haven't locked anything in this week because we're about a week and a half out, and I got to see how I do on Paris and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm with you. I think very live dog here in this spot, and we're betting on youth. We're betting on upside. We're betting a little bit on the unknown. And that's half the game in MMA, right? It's an educated guess at this point. We're thinking Claudio Puelles is probably getting a little worse, a little older. I'm sorry, Joaquim Silva getting a little worse, a little bit older. Claudio Puelles in his prime, getting a little bit better. And you just got to kind of trust your gut and go with it, man. So I'm with you on that one. I think Claudio Puelles is very live in this fight. Did you have something to add to that?
No, I was going to tell you, look at a picture from 40 weeks ago. He's standing next to Christian Yagos, Flash Gordon, and Adam Borix. Now, these guys are 55ers, okay? Flash Gordon's 55er. Yagos is a 55er. And look at Puelles next to these guys. It's November 22nd, 2024. It is insane to see this guy next to these guys. There's no way this guy's a 55er. Look at these. Look at him. Do you see it? It's like
Is it the black and white one?
No, it's at Killcliff. They're standing in front of Killcliff. They're all 4 of them. If you go down, it's after the one with the camel. He's like, it's in the camel. It's the next row down.
Okay, now I'm looking. Okay, I see the camel. Okay, I got you here. I wanted to
Dude,
I want to share it here with the people.
Hit that picture. Look at Puelles to the right.
Yeah, he's huge.
Look at the size on these. Those guys are 55ers next to him. He's a 55er. How is that possible?
And look at them arms.
Dude, it's insane. It's literally there's no something's up. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, yeah, there's eating healthy and working out, and there's, other ways of getting bigger. I mean, this is insane how big he looks.
This man got himself a doctor.
Well, a good one at that.
Narco, I got to tell you, I used to rage on this show about people that were steroid cheats. I used to be all morally upset and clutch my pearls about these guys cheating. And There were a couple of times where I actually bet against a few people, almost to like stick it to the man, almost to be like, you know what, you cheating son of a bitch, I'm going to win money fading you. It didn't go well. And now, especially the UFC has lowered the bar, and Dana White was like, "All right, let's get USADA out here." I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna stop bitching about it. I'm a gambler. The point is to try to make money. If this guy's gonna walk in the cage and cheat, I'm going to bet on him. I'll take the advantage. So I'm not going to complain about it anymore. I'm just going to bet the guy that we think is probably on some extra gear. That's fine at this point. I gave up. All right, everybody. Real quick, we got to shout out some of these sponsors, baby. Let's go.
Oh, left, right punch, uppercut, lands. Oh, my God!
Again, there's a straight
Somebody gets dropped with another right hand. And that is it.
Spectation Sports, baby, the hottest growing regional MMA show in MMA today. If you guys don't know, you should. We got a lot of guys coming out of Spectation that are making their Dana White's Contender Series debuts and UFC debuts. Legends like Austin Bashi, Torres Finney, and we just got our boy Tommy Guns McMillan through the Contender Series this past week. Coming up this week, we have got Ring Titans on Friday, and it's Fight Fest, baby. That means we've got doubleheader Cage Titans on Saturday. Back-to-back events put on by the Cage Titans team over there. And that Cage Titans main event is one that you guys should be excited about. It's a couple of former UFC fighters who are trying to work their way back to the big show. Cage Titans 73 is headlined by Joe Giannetti and Dakota Bush. You guys aren't going to want to miss this one. So if you're looking to do fight study for these guys getting into Dana White's Contender Series, or if you're just a fight fan and you want to watch a few more people punch and kick each other, sign up for Spectation Sports. Use the link in the description below. Promo code DIEHARD will get you 20% off your subscription when you sign up. So thank you very, very much. And then we have a special offer for you guys coming from Cloudbet. Cloudbet is the official sponsor of the PFL. And can you believe it? They are hooking you guys up with a chance to go to Dubai for the PFL Championship Series. This one's going to be huge. Here's the deal. You put your bets on Cloudbet, punch in code HUGES, HUGES, as in the main event fighter. And for every $10 stake you make, you will get one entry into the drawing. The more you play, the more entries you stack up. This is unlimited. First place VIP, 2 seats to Dubai on October 3rd for Hughes versus Nurmagomedov, and you get to attend the Paul Hughes after party. You're also going to be walking away with a full-on Cloudbet PFL gear pack, including signed Paul Hughes gloves. Second place is also going to get general admission tickets and the merch kit. Third place, you will get an exclusive merch pack. So we've got 3 different tiers for you guys. All you got to do is sign in, use promo code Hughes, and gamble on Cloudbet. Make sure you guys are signing up using the link in the description below. Use promo code DIEHARDMMA when you do so, and you've got until September 24th to get these tickets and entries in. Get signed up, get playing. Let's freaking go. I need one of you guys sitting front row at the PFL. I need a Die Hard MMA shirt in Abu Dhabi. I want to see it. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about Noche UFC, and I am joined by none other than the wizard himself, Narco Cop MMA, to break these fights down for you. Let's get back on into it. Next up, we have got Elise Pereira, and she is taking on Montserrat Rendon, the monster herself. Narco, this Elise Pereira, she seems to have like a very familiar left hook. It's like the God-given power runs in the family, man. Yes, you're not hearing that wrong, people. This is Alex Pereira's little sister, the Golden Girl, 5-0, undefeated, 19 years old. Got to be the youngest fighter in the UFC right now. And she has got four rattled off round 1 knockouts. Now, one of those is ineligible for MMA, so technically she is 6-0, but Tapology flagged it or whatever. So she's got one more round one knockout that you guys need to know about. She's been to decision once, so the 15 minutes of cardio checks out. She is brutally powerful with that left hook, which is rare for women's MMA. She is being put in a spot for the UFC to highlight Alex Pereira's little sister. Make no mistake. Montserrat Rendon, 6-1, 36 years old, and man, she's tough as an old leather boot. This is Sam Hughes on steroids. This is heavyweight Sam Hughes. Like she wants to come forward. She wants to bully you physically. She wants to hit you with big power shots. She wants to muscle you around the cage. And physicality in women's MMA is something I always talk about, man. That's all it takes to win at the low level sometimes. If you're the bigger, stronger woman, it just seems to work over there. Like there's less of the opportunity to come back because they don't have quite as much finishing ability, right? Like the knockout power is a little bit more rare. It's harder to pull off, to swing the fight with big power shots. But this isn't that fight though, because we're talking about a Pereira in this one. So there's at any point in time, Elise Pereira could change the scope of this fight with one single shot. The problem for me is betting on a 19-year-old fighter, man. I faded Raul Rosas Jr. when he fought my boy C-Rod because he was too damn young, right? Like you come into the UFC, you're young, you're unpolished. The ceiling, there is no ceiling. The sky is the limit. You could be the best fighter on planet Earth, but at 19 years old, you're fighting some of the most tenured seasoned fighters on planet Earth. And that age gap may be too wide here, man. I know we talk all the time about like the 10-year age difference and how much that favors the younger fighter. There is a point of diminishing returns here, right? We're talking about a 17-year age gap. And Montserrat Rendon has had a good 15 years worth of steroids pumping through her body. Elise Pereira is just coming into her full woman body. So I can't back Pereira here in this spot. I want to see a highlight reel left hook. I'm picking her to win the fight, but I can't put my money on it. This is a sit back and watch. This is a fireball and popcorn fight if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I mean, they gave her a literal punching bag on the feet. I mean, Rendon's terrible on the feet, and I faded her pretty big against Daria, her last fight, and Daria kind of just worked her. This is a girl that when she wins, she squeaks out wins just via like cage pushing and grappling and standing. She's just so bad, man. She's so hittable. She looks the part, right? She's big. She's I believe she's like 5'8". Yeah, she's 5'8". She's big. She looks the part. She's muscular, but it starts and it ends right there, man. Like she just doesn't have good MMA skills. I believe she's like a purple belt on the ground, but I don't really think she's that dangerous on the ground as well. She does not have, I believe, a single finish. Yeah, she has no finishes. So this is a girl that she wins. It's probably a close split decision. And when she loses, like she lost to Daria, it's a pretty evident loss. So Daria did get tired, I remember, in that fight, but so was Montserrat. Montserrat was tired. And a year and a half layoff again. She's 36 years old. She's going to be 37 early next year. She's fighting this 19-year-old, which is a concern. But Elise Pereira's huge, man. She's 5'10". She's very, very big. Not as muscular, but as far as length, she has it. And she uses her length well with her striking, man. She's a really good striker. And I just feel like she's going to touch her up on the feet, man. I really do. And the UFC is like literally gave her one of the worst strikers on the roster at 35, I believe. And Montserrat's not dangerous at all. That's the other thing. Like they gave her the least dangerous and the worst striker, one of the worst strikers at 35. So,
it's basically an IQ test. Like, can you defend the cage push?
If you look at UFC stuff, youngest UFC female fighter ever, and they're promoting her everywhere, dude. Do they really want her to lose here? Obviously not. And it doesn't always work out. Listen, they sometimes try to do this stuff and it doesn't work out. But I think it works out here, honestly. Montserrat Rendon is so bad. Now, I don't really know much of Pereira's like ground game or like her bottom game. I didn't tape her much, so I don't know. Was she ever on her back at all? Or that's the only thing.
We've seen it a couple of times. I'm sorry, Montserrat or Pereira?
No, Ferreira being on her back.
Okay, no. I thought you were talking about Rendon.
Yeah. So that's the only thing, right? That's the only, I guess, concern. What does she look like if she actually gets grounded and she's on her back? Because from just looking at her topology, I think she's a white belt on the ground. I'm not sure. So that kind of checks out for a girl that's, a lifelong kickboxer like her brother. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say here. This is kind of a binary fight, right? If it's standing, she's going to kick Rendon's ass bad.
Yeah.
And if it gets grounded, now that's the question, right? I don't know. I really don't know about her ground game. I do know that she trained for a while with Almeida in that Almeida gym.
She's got pictures with like Jailton Almeida and stuff like that.
Correct.
So you got to hope there's a little something there.
I'm going to assume there's some grappling skills if you're in that gym, because I think that gym is primarily like a grappling gym, but that's a guess. It's a guess.
Yeah, she's got a video where she's specifically working from her back, actually, that you can go see, guys, from about Instagram's telling me 73 weeks ago. So she's getting like flatlined by this dude where he's starting in like mount and knee on belly, and it's all working like escapes and underhooks and stuff. So it looks like she's at least aware. You got to hope that there's enough work there. But I don't think she has to worry too much about that, man, because Montserrat, having the first name of Montserrat is the worst base for MMA, right? Montserrat Ruiz and Montserrat Rendon, two of the worst to ever do it. I think this is Elise, and I think it's Elise all the way, man. Hopefully she shows out. That would be kind of cool to have the brother-sister storyline and have her kind of pick up the mantle as Alex is going out, have the rise of Elise. That'd be pretty freaking cool for the two of them. Next up, everybody, we have got Jesus Aguilar taking on Luis Gurule. Oh, Narco, I'm so pissed off at both these guys. Like, I hate this fight. I hate this fight with every bone in my body. So I shipped it, man. I believed in Luis. I really believed in Luis Gurule when he made his UFC debut. 31 years old, coming off Dana White's Contender Series, and they give him Ode Osborne, and I'm just... oh, man, I could not wait. I'm rubbing my hands. I'm like, this is the one, baby. Like, we all know Ode's got a bad gas tank. We all know Ode's dangerous in round one. But if you take this guy down and you make him work, he just can't keep up with the pace. And that's all Luis Gurule does, is he just gets in people's faces and he wants to drag them to the cage and he wants to put them on their backs. And I'm like, this is the perfect fight for him to make his UFC debut and make a splash. And that's a mistake on me for believing in one of these Dana White's Contender Series fighters making their debut. Narco, I used to blindly bet against these guys. I used to blindly bet against them, and now I've kind of changed my way of thinking, and I went in hard on this one. Happy to see Ode get the win, but I was very disappointed because I lost a chunk of my bankroll that night when he got sparked. So I'm a little bit down on Luis Gurule at the moment here. 31 years old, little too old to be a prospect, getting sparked by a guy like Ode, even if you just kind of, get caught, like, if you're that good, you're probably not getting caught by Ode. You know what I mean? So it's like, I kind of had some cold water thrown on me a little bit there. And then Jesus Aguilar is just the worst, man. He's got good boxing, right? He's got decent hands, but he doesn't have power. He doesn't have power at all. And all he does is go for this guillotine over and over and over again. It makes me so mad, like spitting angry. I bet on him. I think I bet him against Rafael Estevam. I think I took the shot on him on that one. And just the constant repeated putting yourself in a bad position over and over and over and over again. Like, it's so hard to win these fights because he doesn't have massive power that's going to swing the course of the fight. He doesn't have crazy volume that's going to get him ahead in these fights. So when you jump guillotine like Cody Brundage style 5 times over the course of a night and have to get out from under your opponent, like it just is not a good game plan. Now, if he gets the gilly, he's got one of the tightest squeezes you've ever seen. That's his move. So like, it's like Francis Ngannou-esque, because if he gets the neck, it's over. Like, he's got the one hitter quitter. So this fight is going to be Luis Gurule winning every single second of this fight until he gets guillotined by Jesus Aguilar. And I know I'm going to be wrong, Narco. If I bet the sub prop on Jesus, I know Luis is going to grind this man into oblivion. And yet, if I play the money line of you, Luis Gurule, I can without a doubt say in round 3 he will be tapping. So I can't touch this fight, man. No matter what happens, I'm going to be on the wrong side of it. It's extremely binary for me. I will say that on Noche UFC, Jesus Aguilar gets himself another guillotine victory, man. That'll be the official prediction, but I can't touch this one from a betting perspective. What do you think about this fight, man?
Yeah, I mean, I like Gurule here, honestly. I think, you know, I'm going to give the guy another shot because I was in the same boat with you, you know, in the Osborne fight. I actually had him. I thought he was going to finish Osborne later because he actually has a really good pace. He's got good cardio. He can wrestle. He can strike. He has power. And honestly, from everything I've seen on tape, he was super durable, you know. So for him to get knocked out there, listen, Ode, we've seen him over and over. He can hurt anybody. And he can literally almost KO anybody. We just saw it in his last fight. He almost KO'd Usyk in round 1, right? So guy has a lot of power in his hands. And he's a really good striker, and he's very fast, right? And I thought the size was a major thing in that fight. He was much bigger than Gurule, and Gurule just honestly didn't know how to deal with the distance. You know, like Osborne was touching him up at distance. Gurule tried to grapple a little. He got him down. He had that nice takedown where he slammed him hard. But O'Day in the second round, you know, worked him and landed that big hook and followed up and he was out. But Aguilar, you mentioned, you know, he swings big, but his striking is not good, dude. They're like looping punches. It's like when I look at these two guys, I think Gurule is like the better mixed martial artist everywhere. It's the better wrestler. He's got better jiu-jitsu probably, or it's damn close. He's the better striker. And it's just, to me, it's like, well, how does Aguilar win this fight? Like, he just needs to make it dirty or grimy or like a lot of grappling back and forth, cage pushing, because he does have great cardio, Aguilar, right? But I think Gurule has very good cardio. So if it came down to cardio, I kind of think it's almost a push. You know, Gurule does train with the Misfits over there in Colorado. So he's with Royval and Alex Hernandez. You know, they made their own little clique of gym, and it's like 6 or 7 or 8 of them, whatever, that they train together. So they're training at elevation. Obviously, you know, this card here is in Texas. So I don't really think it's going to matter as far as cardio here. I think both guys are going to have good cardio. I just think the better mixed martial artist is Gurule. And I know he's a little bit older. I just think he's better everywhere. I think he's a better wrestler. Like, I don't think Aguilar, like Nick Piccinini, who's a high level wrestler, was getting takedowns but couldn't do shit against Gurule. Like, he was getting right back up. So I don't expect Aguilar to like get takedowns and do what he wants. I expect Gurule to get takedowns if he wants them, you know? So I like Gurule here. I like Gurule, plain and simple. Minus 200, I think it is. I think it's a tad bit short, honestly, even though Aguilar is a dog. I kind of lean Gurule on this fight.
Okay. And before you guys make fun of me, no, I'm not just hailing Narco. No, I was like half kidding about my Jesus Aguilar guillotine prediction because, like I said before, I know I'm going to be wrong on this fight. I agree 1000% with you that, like I said, Gurule's going to be winning minutes. Like, so if he can keep his neck safe, he should win this fight. So, God love you. Usually that works, Narco. Going back to the well, usually that works. Like, you get that big surprise, and I'm going to chicken out, right? I'm chickening out. I'm tapping. But if you have the cojones to go, no, my read was correct, and I'm just going right back to the well, usually you get rewarded for that. So I wish you luck. I hope you cash. I won't jinx you because I won't be betting this fight. So you're safe. You're safe. Next up, Alexander the Great Ape Hernandez takes on Carlos Diego Ferreira. What a fight. Dude, this is like a crossroads fight. Crazy quick turnaround here from Alexander Hernandez. Fresh off of ruining my night by sparking my boy Chase Hooper in round 1. Man, that was one of those throwaway fluke predictions where I was like, like there's always the chance that Alexander Hernandez could just bonk him, but we haven't seen that in like 4 years. So it could happen, but I don't think that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So Alexander Hernandez, he's so weird at this point, man. Like he said the right things on the microphone. He's talking about how like he dug deep and he's turning his career around and he's doing the right things and he feels like he's building back up from here. I mean, I said before, I feel like this guy got cut. He feels like a fighter that got dropped by the UFC and is being given like a second run, but somehow he just like squeezed a split decision out here and there to save his job instead of actually getting cut by the organization. So no, he's still here, man. But he's been fighting a pretty rough level of competition, right? Losing a split to Damon Jackson, winning a split to Austin Hubbard, Kurt Hollabaz, nothing to write home about. Like, so I'm trying not to get too excited by this guy bopping Chase Hooper on the head. Carlos Diego Ferreira is 40 years old, though. So he's old as dirt, needs a new hip. He's 2-2 in his last 4. But man, it looks like he's still got it, Narco. Like his fight with Michael Johnson. He's still got the power. He's still got the timing. He can still figure everything out the right way. The Mateos Rebecki fight, like he looked spectacular in that fight. We know Rebecki can kind of overwork and gas out and slow down, but the fact that he got the finish in round 3, like he didn't let it go to the judges, he looked phenomenal. And yet Grant Dawson's going to pace a lot of people, right? Grant Dawson's going to do what Grant Dawson does. He's in his prime. He's a monster wrestler. I don't really knock him for that. So looking at this fight, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of recency bias with people watching Alexander Hernandez just flatline everybody's favorite curly-headed fuck. I don't really think that's him, though. I don't think that he's just back to being the roided up little monster he was when he was talking shit to Donald Cerrone, I think he's still the wrestler who struggles with his gas tank a little bit. I think he's still the guy who will rely on surviving round 3 and hanging on your legs to get to the finish line. Like, I think Carlos Diego Ferreira might actually still be the side here. Like he might just be the overall more skilled fighter. And as long as he's not held back by his age, if he's on the right vitamins, right, I think he can win this fight, but it's close. It's close. I'm not sure what to do with Alexander Hernandez at this point. So help me out, Narco. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Ferreira was supposed to fight on that same card that Alex fought with against Hooper, but remember Bobby Green pulled out with an injury on the day of the fight. I bet Hernandez there against Hooper, and the reasoning was because I didn't think Hooper was going to be able to take him down. Hernandez shown like great takedown defense. He's the better striker. I think there was way too much hype on Hooper and his striking. I thought his striking was still awful.
I was counting on the improvements.
And he got exposed, really bad. Like he was, prior to the knockout, he was just working Hooper really, really bad with the striking. He was out striking Hooper easily. And I don't think that's going to be the case here with Diego Ferreira. Diego Ferreira's, is Hernandez going to be faster? Yes. I think he's got faster. He's got better footwork. He's obviously much younger. But Ferreira is very tricky on the feet, man. He's switching stances. He blasts those leg kicks, inside, outside. And God help you if he gets on top of you. Like, he's an extremely good grappler. He's not a joke. And, when you look at Alex Hernandez, right, and you say, this guy's a well-rounded fighter. He can strike. He can grapple. He can wrestle. But his gas tank has always been kind of the issue, right? Well, if you look at the fights, like Hollabao fight, right? He kind of used his wrestling to bail him out and get the W in that fight. He went and took down Hollabao multiple times, won that fight. I believe Damon Jackson fight as well. I think he got some takedowns in that fight, if I'm not mistaken. And what I'm trying to get at is that I don't think that's a path for him in this fight. I don't think that he's going to be able to easily take Ferreira down. And if he does take him down, he's going to be put in some very, very bad spots. So I just don't think that's a path for him in this fight. It's probably going to be standing. And Ferreira, even at the age of 40, has better cardio. Like we saw him absolutely getting his ass beat for like 5-6 minutes by Rebecca, and then him turning the fight around and putting it on Rebecca bad until he finished him. Who would have predicted that in that fight? Like he was a huge underdog in that fight, right? If you put Alex Hernandez in that same spot against Rebecca in round 1, Hernandez is done. He is absolutely toast. So the more durable guy, the guy that has more heart, everything favors Ferreira here, in my opinion, in those aspects. Obviously, the youth. I think Hernandez is the better striker, technically speaking. But I think that's it. You know, like I just kind of lean Ferreira, but the age scares me. You know, I want to see what the line is. There's no lines. If it opens Ferreira plus 170, like because of recency bias, 180, I'm gonna hit Ferreira for sure. At plus
I'm expecting somewhere around the ballpark of even money by the time I can touch it. I know you guys are all going to get the opener and get that little.
I don't hit openers at all anymore. I don't hit any openers at all anymore. So I don't get the openers. I'm hoping to get somewhere in that range. You know, even 150 I'm happy with, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I do think you're right. I think it opens probably closer to pick 'em.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, man, I'll take even money. Like this is the kind of fight where I'll take even money. I don't want to lay a ton of chalk. So like, you know, maybe minus 130, somewhere in that ballpark, I'd still nibble on Diego. But if it gets much more than that, like that's where 40 years old, you gotta rely on the caution a little bit at that point. So if it gets expensive, can't do it. But if we're in the ballpark of even money, I like Carlos Diego. And I'm glad to hear you agree with me. I thought that might be a little bit of a crazy take from myself. So trying not to get bit in the ass by that recency bias here. All right, guys. Next up, you've got Kelvin Gastelum taking on Dustin Stoltzfus in a fight I never thought I would ever see, Narco. What are they doing here? Kelvin Gastelum, we gotta talk about it, man. You can't be talking about on a mission for gold anymore. I'm sorry. Like if you're getting reduced to fighting my boy Dustin Stoltzfus, we can't be talking about gold anymore. He is 2-2 in his last 4 recent losses to Sean Brady and Joe Pyfer. Not that there's any shame necessarily in those losses. Wins over Chris Curtis, questionable with the second round head clash. Win over Daniil Rodriguez, a 40-year-old who, you know, beats up Kevin Holland. So Kevin fallen on hard times, man. He is settled firmly into a show up for a paycheck type of guy. Like, I'm not even going to call him a gatekeeper. Don't get me wrong. The skill set is still what it is. He's still better than 80% of the fighters out there, right? He's going to give everybody a tough fight on his good night, that kind of thing. But I just don't think he's locked in anymore the way that he was. I think we're kind of done with that. And he's cashing some checks. He'll put in some good fights. He'll win some, he'll lose some. And that's just kind of where we're at. But the grappling has really kind of always been a bit of an issue for Kelvin Gastelum. And that means my boy Dustin has a very clear path to victory in this fight. Now, Dustin, 33 years old, he is 16-7. I've talked forever about how underrated this guy is, man. He's alternating wins and losses in the UFC, and that's because he is a UFC 500 fighter, right? He's not going to be a guy that challenges for a title. He's not going to be a contender circle kind of guy, but he will go out there and fight tooth and nail and give you his blood and guts every single time. He's also fully capable of memeing people. I don't know what that Marc-Andre Barriault knockout was, Narco. I never in my life did I expect him to come out and spark Marc-Andre Barriault. Of all people, absolute insanity. Then he gets the sub win over Punahele. Like, he's been doing some stuff lately. He fought tooth and nail with a guy like Nursultan Frozabolaev, like reversing and getting grappling time going. And he's got a brick for a head, dude. They clashed heads in that fight, and Nursultan was almost out. Like, Nursultan was ready to throw in the towel after a clash of heads, and Dustin used it to his advantage. He's like, give me this top position. Let's go. So I love this guy. I love how tough he is. I love how durable he is. He's a black belt. He can box. Like, he's limited by his physicality. He's not the ultimate athlete or anything like that, but he's a tough SOB. And I love that about him. Frankly, he's at home at 185 pounds. And yeah, back in the day, Kelvin Gastelum might have been a guy who we can say was title worthy, right? Like maybe he's a tier above a guy like Dustin Stoltzfus, but 2025 Kelvin Gastelum, who's hanging out with Henry Cejudo, who's also fighting at 185 pounds now. If you've seen the recent pictures of him, like, I just don't think this is the same guy anymore, Narco. So I expect Kelvin to have fast hands. I expect him to win moments on the feet, but I also think Dustin can hit takedowns here. So this is another fight where I am extremely interested in the wild upset of Dustin Stoltzfus at plus 195 as the underdog. I don't know that I'm going to get there because I do think, like I said, he is limited. It's a fact. But if he can get top time on Kelvin Gastelum, why can't he win this fight? This is another one where I want nothing to do with the chalk, Narco.
Did you know Kelvin Gastelum owns a promotion? A fight promotion?
I did not.
It's called, you ready for this? It's an AZ. It's called the Yuma Fight League. It's in Yuma, Arizona.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he is the co-owner of that league. He started it, I think, kind of recently, like a year and a half or 2 years ago. But you know, he trains here locally at Fight Ready.
Yeah.
He's at Fight Ready a bunch.
I ran into him at DraftKings. He's really short. He looks short on TV. He's short in person too.
Yeah. I looked at some of his Instagram to see what he was up to, you know, stuff like that. Apparently he was training with Chimaev for his fight, for Chimaev's fight. So he was brought in to train with Chimaev a bunch. And then he's been doing a lot of rounds with Pat Downey, who is a wrestler, grappler. And some
improved sprawl and brawl, you say, huh?
Well, here's the thing. I bet, listen, I'm very sour with Stoltzfus because last fight was super winnable against Ruzoboyev, right? 2 or 3 different times he goes for this stupid guillotine when he's on top and he ends up on bottom. He gets reversed twice. He easily wins that fight. He won round 1. He easily wins the fight if he just stays on top in round 2. He's on top for like 2 minutes, decides to go for this idiotic guillotine and ends up on bottom and loses the round and then loses round 3. And it's like super frustrating, right? Because Ruzoboyev is not really a good grappler, man, when you can get him grounded on his back. And like, he probably would have never got the reversal if it wasn't for the bonehead move from Stoltzfus. So, you know, the issue I have is like, even Gastelum at this age and the way he's looked and everything, you know, he still won round 3 off Joe Pyfer. Like after getting dropped, I don't know how many times did he get dropped in that fight? Like 3 times against Pyfer early on. He got dropped a lot and he was hurt, but he's a tough SOB, man. Like Pyfer hit him with everything and he just kept coming and coming. And eventually he won round 3 in that fight. And the thing with me with Stoltzfus is he's so mechanical on the feet that Gastelum still, no matter how he looks, he's going to be way faster. He's got way better footwork, better boxing. So like Stoltzfus, we're got to say he's going to have to be taking him to the ground and holding him, which I don't think is going to happen. That's the problem I have here. Like, how does Stoltzfus win this fight? And if we're talking via grappling, I don't think it's that easy. Like Gastelum, from everything I've heard, is a really, really good grappler himself. So, like, yeah, maybe Stoltzfus get a body lock takedown. I don't know if he could. If he can't hold Ruzoboyev down, what makes me think he can hold fucking Gastelum down? So it's
that's fair.
I don't really. I know the line's a little bit big. What is it? Minus 230 now on Gastelum, but I can't get with Stoltzfus at this price against him because I don't really think he has like a great path here. Like if I thought he can win via striking or via grappling, then I would be fine with it. I just don't think he can win that fight in the striking. I think he's going to be way slower, and Gastelum just has way better boxing and footwork, and Gastelum has a granite chin, man. Like he is as tough as they come. So I don't even see that path where he can knock him out. Yeah, for me, like Stoltzfus he's one of those fighters. He's right there to win, but somehow he finds a way to lose.
He's one of those guys that finds a way to lose instead of finding a way to win.
Look at the fight against
perfect way to put
Ferreira, Bruno Ferreira.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming on. He's hurting. Ferreira runs right into a spinning elbow. Like, what happened, dude?
Hey, the spinning elbow is the new leg kick, though, Narco. That's the new the MMA meta is the spinning elbow.
It's like a boost. He's walking forward, runs right into a front kick. Goes dropped. I mean, nasty front kick. Right? So, Gerald Mearshart, like, it's on and again with it. This
dude,
guy. Somehow,
don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about the early run. I bet him against both Hodolfo and Gerald Mearshart, and he was seconds away from winning both of those fights. I was so mad.
But how do you keep finding ways to lose like this? Is my thing, right? Like it's probably terrible fight IQ. That's the only thing I could think of. So it can't always be bad luck. We could say bad luck once or twice. We're talking about 4 or 5 times now. It's not always bad luck. So
it's a pattern at that point.
I'm kind of done with this guy, to be honest. I'm literally done with him. Maybe he's gonna make me pay, but yeah, I'm done betting this guy because I truly think he can. He pulled. I guess he pulled that knockout against. How does that fight play out though if he doesn't knock him out?
Where did that come from, man?
I don't know. I really don't. But
no, I'm with you, man.
I think it's Gastelum, honestly. I think Gastelum wins here. It's a big step down for him, man. Look at the opponent. Look at Gastelum's opponents, man. Insane murderer's row he's faced. I mean, Pfeiffer. I'm talking about the guys he's lost to, right? Pfeiffer, Brady, Cannonier, Whitaker, Hermanson. You got to go back all the way to Till for the last bad, I guess you can call it a bad loss, even though Till is a good fighter back then. But that's the last bad loss.
He's knocking out Luke Rockhold these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in boxing. That was bad. But yeah, no, give me Gastelum here. I think he wins. I'm probably not going to lay the price, but I'm not. No more Stoltzfus for me. No more.
That's fair. That's fair. I will tell you though, man.
Remember how you tapped earlier? It's my turn to tap. I tap.
There you go. We've both been submitted on this podcast, man. My finger will be hovering over the live bet. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to go in pre-flop. I'm going to have to wait and see if Kelvin comes in locked in, like you said, the speed, the sprawl and brawl, like if the grappling's up to snuff here, yeah, he probably wins this fight. This is a buy the dip spot for Kelvin Gastelum. I'm just not buying this dip. So if there's an opportunity to live bet, if it looks like Dustin's going to pull another one, then maybe I jump in. But more often than not, I'm probably staying away here from this one. All right, guys, we are getting close to the end of this bad boy. A couple more really good fights to talk about. Please hit that like button and get subscribed if you haven't already. And make sure you're checking out Narco Cop MMA. Next up, we've got Jared Flash Gordon taking on Rafa Gifted Garcia. And man, a couple of years ago, just like a year or two ago, I would have said that this is basically a mirror match, right? It's like Jared Gooden looking in a Mexican mirror is what this fight would be looking like. Both these guys really strong grapplers. Both these guys really good cardio. But I got to tell you, Jared has really surprised me over his last couple of fights. Like the hands have looked really good. And it seems like he seems to have developed some power out of nowhere. Like he's got 2 TKO victories in his last couple fights. Narco, what the hell happened? Like most guys do not develop power late in their career the way this guy has. And the boxing's always been there, but he's never been starching people like that. I don't know if it's like a technique thing where he knows how to set stuff up better. So he's going body, head and taking people out that way or something or what. But like, it's impressive what Jared's been doing recently. I got off the Jared is tinny train a couple of fights ago, and thank God for that because he's looked incredible. And going to that split decision with Nasrat Haqparast, frankly, Narco, I think this guy should be on a 3-fight win streak. I thought he won that fight that night. I feel like close fight, hard to say robbery in a close fight, but I thought he got robbed, man. Like I thought it was pretty clear that he is the one that won that fight. Now, Rafa Garcia, 31 years old, like I said, pretty strong grappler coming off of a win over Vince from Hell Pichel, which this guy just puts a pace on you. His boxing is decent, but he can get popped and hurt on the feet. He's a little slow. And if he can't control you with the grappling, he doesn't have much of a plan B, right? Like Mahashat, Clay Guida, Vince Pichel. Those are this guy's wins. I've got a hard time seeing a path to victory here against Jared Gordon, man. Am I crazy? Like, am I missing something? I feel like this is a spot where I'm giving Jared Gordon more credit than I ever have in his entire MMA career. But I feel like him being a decent-sized favorite here is justified.
Yeah, I mean, that Nasrat fight you mentioned, the reason why he lost, it was in Saudi Arabia, and we know Nasrat is backed by the Moroccan prince, and they're kind of close with those guys. So we know probably what happened. I went back and rewatched that. I do think he won that fight, Jared Gordon, and he is really coming to his own. You can go back as far as Paddy Pimblett fight. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that robbery that he got against Paddy Pimblett. Do you remember that fight where he clearly won, and the whole world thought he won that fight, and they robbed him blind there against Paddy Pimblett? And ever since that fight, and the guy has looked really good. Even the Green fight where it was a no contest, he was piecing up Green on the feet. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Everybody was like, oh, Bobby Green's just going to tool on him on the feet, and, you know, he needs to get takedowns. No, he was actually tooling on Bobby Green on the feet in that fight.
It was crazy.
Before the no contest. And then, you know, he just destroyed Mark Madsen, right? And then we talk about the Nasrat fight where he probably got robbed. You know, I don't want to say robbed because Nasrat did work in that fight, but he won the fight, in my opinion. And then last fight, I had a bet on him. I was like, okay, hold on. And I looked at those last couple of fights. I'm like, this guy's a different fighter.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many times, I said this, Clint, there's not many times that you say that a guy is now 34, 35, 36 and has improved. He's literally looked the best of his entire career. This guy right here has looked the best he's ever looked in his entire career. And we're talking about legit wins, man. The Paddy Pimblett one in my book is a win. And you are seeing what Paddy Pimblett is doing to a lot of people, right? He's running through everybody. But he couldn't do that to Jared Gordon. And then Jared Gordon, Nasrat had a big win against who was in that war against the Argentine guy? God, it's slipping my mind. Ribovex. He had that war victory against Ribovex. Remember that? Nasrat beat him. And arguably, Jared Gordon beat Nasrat.
Yeah,
and
that was a hell of a fight.
And you see what he did to Thiago Moises. Like, the guy has just looked incredible, man. Literally incredible. And shout out to him, man, because Rafa Garcia is a good fighter. He's very tough. But, yeah, I like Jared Gordon, man. Jared Gordon is literally, to me, he's looked like a top 15, 155-pounder right freaking now at 36 years old. The best he's ever looked. And I'm not getting off his train, to be honest. He's looked incredible. The only guy to really beat him is Grant Dawson. And even that fight wasn't easy for Grant Dawson. He had to use every bit of his energy in the grappling to eventually finish him in round 3. I believe it was 1-1 going into round 3, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to go back and look at the scorecards. But
I believe you're correct.
The guy's been a menace, man. He's literally a menace. So, good fighter. Best he's ever looked at 36, man. I can't get off the train. I think it's Jared Gordon here. Probably via decision because Garcia is super, super tough.
I love it, man. I love it. Jared Gordon, I'm a reformed hater. I'm now on the train, so I'm with you, man. I hope he wins this fight, and like I said, I do think that price tag is justified, so I might end up doing something with it. And be careful, guys. You can't just play the Jared Gordon by decision prop anymore either, because he's knocking fools out. So you might have to moneyline parlay this dude up at this point because he's got more than one avenue to victory. Co-main event, everybody. We have got Rob Font, and he's taking on David Martinez. We think. This is part of the shuffle that took place here this week. Unfortunately, Chiwiwis is not going to make it here for UFC Noche, and they had to give a different opponent to fill in for Raul Rosas Jr. Now, from what we put together here, it looks like David Martinez was originally supposed to be facing Quang on this card. So they're just bumping him up here to this co-main event slot, giving him the opportunity against Rob Font. Now, Rob Font, very familiar with, right? He's a New England cartel guy. We know he's tough as an old leather boot. This guy has still never been knocked out somehow with all the wars and all the damage he's taken. Somehow he still has not been rendered unconscious yet. It's pretty insane with some of the people he's fought. Fraud checked Kyler Phillips. He went to a split decision against Gene Matsumoto, which was a back and forth battle, and basically veteraned his way to a win in that spot. Man, got taken down and out grappled by Davison Figueiredo, and that's kind of what you got to do, right? Like, you can't really stand with this guy because he's gonna out volume you, and we've seen him sit down on a couple punches now and again. That KO of Adrian Yanez took a lot of people by surprise too. So Rob still got it. Rob still got it. He's another one of these old fighters that just refuses to die and go away. This is a huge, massive step up in competition for David Martinez. Like, all props to this kid for taking the shot, right? The UFC calls and gives you an opportunity, and you're fighting on the Noche card, and they say, hey, we need a co-main event. Like, go get him, David. But this guy won a decision on Dana White's Contender Series. He's 1-0 in the UFC with a win over Simon Oliveira. And now he's getting thrown into the deep end against Rob Font. Crazy storyline here. I'll be honest with you, Narco. I don't recall enough about David Martinez, and this is one of the fights that slipped away from me here a little bit with our early preparation going on. So I'm hoping you've got a little bit more that you can tell the people, because I know Rob Font, but David Martinez is one that I really got to brush up on a little bit before I can have much of an opinion. What do you see here on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I like David Martinez. I think, the guy's a doctor, which is hilarious. Like, a doctor coming into the UFC, 27 years old. He has a sister, Melissa Martinez, that's in the UFC. But man, this guy's dynamic, man. That one thing that sticks out is dynamic striking, power in his hands, very, very good kicking game. Elite kicking game with a lot of power in his kicks, a variety of his kicks. So him and his sister have both been doing like karate or whatever since they were like 3 years old or whatever. And the guy's kicking game is just really good. And the other thing that really sticks out with David Martinez is his takedown defense looks good, and his cardio is very good. For a guy that kicks so much and he moves so much, Clint, he's nonstop movement and nonstop kicking and punching. The timing on his punches are really good. He has power in his hands, like I said. If you look, he's got a bunch of KOs. Even in the Contender Series, that Xavier Franklin guy is super tough. Took a lot of big shots in that fight, and that kid just kept coming and coming and coming. And I think, honestly, that Xavier kid might make it to the UFC pretty soon. I really, truly believe he's a decent talent. But David Martinez just overwhelmed him with the kicking game. And, the one thing with Font that holds true is he is a guy that, yes, is he a veteran? Sure. Is he a little bit on the older side? Yes, at 38, but he will bring it for 15 minutes. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw a lot of volume, and he's going to pressure you. And we saw that in the Matsumoto fight, right? That was a short notice matchup for Matsumoto, but we saw Font pressure him, make him uncomfortable, throwing in the pocket, even mixing in some grappling in that fight. I believe there was some grappling involved. And the same thing with Phillips. Kyler Phillips needs his distance, needed the space to win, and Font didn't give it to him. He pressured him, and won a decision there. The difference, though, in my opinion, between a guy like Phillips, who's also a very good kicker, compared to a guy like Martinez is the cardio. Martinez can do it for 5 rounds. I've seen him do it for 4 rounds and knock dudes out in round 4. And the other big difference in this matchup here, in my opinion, it's a very big thing, is the fact that this fight is not going to be in the apex. It's going to be in a bigger cage, and the bigger cage just means that Font needs to close distance a lot more. It's going to be harder to close distance like he did in his last 2 fights against Phillips and Matsumoto, because it was in the apex, right? So this gives Martinez all the room in the world to like circle and kick and do his thing, right? So I kind of think this line's underrating him a little bit, man. I think it's a little too big on Rafa. I do think Rafa should be the favorite. Looking at their resume, it's not close. This is a big step up for David Martinez. He fought at Simon Oliveira, for Christ's sake, right? And he disposed of him easily. But this is a big step up. But I think this kid is good, man. He's really good. And we've seen, the one thing I will say, and you can, what did those kicks from Marlon Vera do to Rob Font? How many times did he get rocked in that fight with kicks? And this kid, David Martinez, kicks harder than Marlon Vera. And his kicks are so effortless, man. You don't see them coming. So I think I lean his side here at big dog money, man. I really do. I need to tape it more, but I love Martinez from what I've seen. I think he's the goods. Huge step up, yes, but very winnable matchup because I've seen Font against kickers, and Marlon Vera was one of them, and it wasn't a very good look for him.
All right. Sitting around plus 180 right now, it looks like. Interesting spot. And again, you guys, I'm sponsored by Cloudbet, so those are the lines that we use, right? There's books out there that we don't talk about, but those plus 3.5s might be interesting in this kind of a spot, Narco. I feel like we could be in for a 15-minute battle in this co-main event. So I do some more tape study, so I don't want to get too far out ahead of my skis, but you got me interested. You got me looking for a few things. I've got some homework to do here on this co-main event. All right, everybody, it is main event time. Let's do it. Diego Lopes takes on Lord Gene Silva. The hype trains collide. My goodness. I can't believe how quickly these two guys have taken over the UFC, Narco. I mean, seriously, Diego Lopes makes a short notice UFC debut and pushed Movsar Evloev to the limit. And then he's one of these guys who looks like a different fighter, right? Like you see him in some rough fights against some meh competition on the regionals. He gets one little spit of confidence in him, and he's a new man, and he's rattling off wins over top 10 guys all of a sudden in the UFC without missing a beat. He's also got heart for days. We've seen him down and out in a couple of fights. We've seen him hit with big shots. We've seen him have to dig deep and hang on for dear life at the end of a fight. And he does whatever it takes to go out there and win. I love Diego Lopes. Absolutely love Diego Lopes. Gene Silva, he's just a wild man, dude. Like, he's jumping off cages. He's barking at people. Like, this guy is absolutely insane. And similarly, off Dana White's Contender Series, in 1 year, we're talking about the guy in a number one contenders fight. He's taken out everybody they've put in front of him. He flatlined Drew Dober. He choked out Bryce Mitchell. I mean, like, this guy's finishing abilities are off the charts. He's good jiu-jitsu. He's good with his hands. He's explosive. And it's crazy because it's like he's not even trying. Like, I love the meme of him pointing down at the guy on the ground, Charles, when he beat Charles Jourdain. And he's like, you really want to make this guy get back up? Like, does he really want to continue with this? Like, it's crazy. He's on like another level from these guys. Now, we're getting to the nitty gritty, right? We're getting to the top 5. We're getting to people who are going to be able to match his durability and match his speed, match his power. But man, if I got to just like boil this fight down to the baseline, like at the end of the day, I think Diego Lopes is too hittable, Narco. I think that's what it comes down to. I think Diego and Gene will trade, and the power edge will be on the side of Gene Silva. And eventually, that trading is going to wear on Diego Lopes. Eventually, he's going to take a shot that he can't come back from, and he won't be able to deliver the same kind of power going back the other way to really get the respect of somebody like Gene Silva. Do I think that Diego Lopes is going to submit Gene Silva? Probably not. Now, nobody in the world is as flexible as Movsar Evloev is. So if he gets him in a knee bar, maybe it's a wrap, right? Maybe it's over. But I'm unfortunately having to sell on Diego Lopes. Diego's been my guy. He's been one of these guys I've ridden the whole streak that he's been on. I bet Movsar Evloev. I had him in a big parlay during his UFC debut, and I about had a heart attack in that third round. And I said, I'm on this kid from this point forward. So I've done really well. there's very few fighters recently, Narco, that I've timed this well, but I got off the train when he fought Alexander Volkanovski. I said that was going to be a y'all must have forgot type of moment for Volkanovski. And I think this will be the second time that I've had to say, you know what, Diego, I'm a massive fan, but I'm sorry. I'm picking Gene Silva on Saturday. What about you, man?
Let's go back to that narrative where you fight for the title, you didn't win. What happens with your comeback fight? Here we are again.
It's a real thing.
But man, you hit it on the head. He's just too hittable. Diego Lopes is too hittable. And, you know, you can be hittable against a guy like Volkanovski who, you know, at this point, you know, he's not really a big power puncher. He's more precision. He's more timing, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, guys like Ige, yes, he hits hard. But Ige, I don't even count that fight, to be honest. Taking a fight on the same day, it's like one of the weirdest fights ever. And
totally different style than what you're preparing for.
And he looked so bad in round 3 in that fight. Like, it was kind of embarrassing to look like that against a guy like Ige that was the one that took the fight on, like, you know, 18 hours or whatever the hell it was. But I have been a John Silva guy since Contender Series. I have been John Silva guy. If you go listen to my breakdown for that Contender Series card, I was wowed by this guy from his regional tape. Not because I thought, I thought this guy's going to be a UFC champion in a year. No, I would be a liar if I said, you know, a year or two he's going to be. No, but I really saw different kind of power from this guy. I saw him hit people. And, you know, I was talking, I'm going to say a little short story. I was talking to a guy. I go to my gym. I usually spar with this guy, and he's a amateur fighter. And we were talking about how there's certain guys that when they hit you, even if it doesn't land, you feel the power and you react differently to it than someone else would, right? This is the guy right here, John Silva. When he hits people, they do not react the same, man. They just don't want
your
it anymore.
ancestors feel it.
I mean, here's the thing. How tough is Charles Jourdain? Everybody says the guy is super tough. Like, he wanted out of that fight. He did not want no more, dude. Like, it was crazy.
I've never seen Charles Jourdain fetal. Like that I never in my life thought I would see Charles Jourdain in the fetal position in an MMA fight.
If you listen to Bryce Mitchell talk, he will tell you in that one interview, he's like, man, I've never felt harder punches in my life. Like, he just hits so damn hard, this guy. And he's putting everybody out. The only guy he didn't put out was Vallejos. And arguably, in round 3, that ref could have easily stopped that fight. I mean, he was getting his ass beat in round 3, right? So this guy's a freak, man. I'm telling you right now, he is an absolute freak of nature. He's completely different than every fighter that I've seen. Durability, cardio, timing, power, takedown defense. I mean, people were talking about how Bryce Mitchell is going to rag this guy. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Do you see how strong this guy is? He was at 55. He was tossing Drew Dober to the side with one hand, and Drew Dober was flying away. I'm like, dude, how strong is this guy? He's one.
What was the one that really woke me up, Nico? I mean, that was the one. Because I was like, Drew Dober at 155 is going to match this dude's power. Not even close.
And forget about the power, Clint. It was the strength, the physical strength, man. When they were clinching and pushing, he was just tossing him around. And he was visibly way smaller than Drew Dober in the cage. Like, he wasn't the same size. But this guy is just different, man. He hits different. 15 finishes, out of his 16 wins. The only guy he didn't finish was Vallejos, and that was very close. You just cannot be hittable the way Lopes is against a guy like this. You can't. He is, I'm telling you now, he's going to put him out, and I think he's going to put him out bad. Lopes is going to be out bad in this fight because he's going to think he can swing and trade like he normally does, And the other thing is, Gene Silva is way more technical. He's way more defensively sound, right? Lopes is not. Lopes just sit there and try to trade, but there's a method to Gene Silva's madness. It's not just sitting there and trade. He's trying to hit you, and he's not trying to get hit. So, yeah, I think it's, he's minus 300. It's insane. It's that big now. I was hoping and praying I would look at like minus 200 because Lopes just looked pretty damn good against Volkanovski. But no, man, people are buying this
fighting
guy
nerds.
big time. Yeah, they're buying him big time. I think he's going to knock out Lopes. I'm going to probably play some kind of under here if it's good, because Lopes, he's very hard to knock out, blah, blah, blah.
No,
Maybe
I don't mind.
we get it under. You're frozen. You are completely frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming back, but your picture is you're coming back a little bit. There you are.
Am I back? Can you hear me now?
You're still very fuzzy.
Freaking internet is spazzing out on me. Just in time.
Yeah,
just in time for the main event.
You probably have Cox too.
Yeah, man. It's like, unfortunately, it's the best around, right? Like, you don't have much choice. But anyway, we made it. We survived. We got through the show without too many issues.
Yep.
All right, guys, this is my man, Narco Cop. Narco, thank you so much for meeting me to break down the show. It's been a pleasure. We've been trying to get you back on the podcast forever, but our schedules just don't match up very well. So thank you for doing this early. Thank you for jumping on with me way ahead of time to get this knocked out. I'm super excited. This is a great card. I think we've got some decent looks on it as well. So hopefully we can make some cash for the people here this week. And of course, man, the floor is yours. Shout out your show, your sponsors, your platform, whatever you want. I'll let the people know where they can find more of you and support you.
Yeah, appreciate you, Clint. Thanks for having me. Narco Cop on Twitter. Narco Cop MMA is my YouTube channel. Every Friday, I do the Lambeau Place podcast. Me and Timothy Troiano, 9 p.m. Eastern. Also, I do a Dana White's Contender Series show on Monday usually it's 3 p.m. Eastern. It's with my man, Brandon Olivas. So yeah, that's it. Not much else to say here. Clint, it was a pleasure. On a Monday for a Noche card. That Noche card is going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. This is going to be a good one. Thank you all so much for swinging by the show tonight. And hopefully by now, the Minnesota Vikings are up by at least 3 scores on the Chicago Bears. Fingers crossed on that one. Hope you guys crushed this past week. Hope we all crushed at UFC Paris, because we still have to wait and find out the results on that one. And I will be back, of course, for the Total Takedown, Clint's Hot Props, and the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show later on this week for you guys. So thank you very much. And don't forget, the show is brought to you and powered by cloudbet.com. Use the link in the description below and promo code DieHardMMA when you sign up, and get in so that you can win a trip to PFL Dubai. They're offering that promo code Hughes. Get signed up now, you guys. Thank you very much again for supporting the show, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Of course, let's roll.